Shalom. First and foremost, I want to start by giving all praise, all honor, all glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone for teaching me this truth according to the Bible through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bahasham Yahweh Shai. And a sincere peace and salutation to all you hopefully let Akim out there pushing his word in all truth and sincerity, doing the work as Yahweh, Bahasham Yahweh Shai has created us to do, so he can wake up and seal the elect of the nation of Israel, which consists of you so-called blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans, and Seminole Indians, and also you Israelites who are scattered amongst the heathen nations that may look like the heathen nations, but your father's seed line of your lineage goes back to you being a so-called black, Hispanic, Native American, and Seminole Indian, one of the 12 tribes of the children of Israel. Hey, Shalom. It's your brother Halak here from the GMS Denver camp, coming back once again through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bahasham Yahweh Shah, with another video. And I want to start here in Ecclesiastes chapter 39, verse 1. It reads, "But he that giveth his mind to the law of the Most High, and is occupied in the meditation thereof, will seek out the wisdom of all the ancient, and be occupied in prophecies." And this is our main focus here at Great Millstone, man, beginning with our apostles and elders. It begins with us, constantly going into prophecy. And I have an article here from End Time Headlines, which revolves around two key players in prophecy, which are these Iranians, which are the Persians, and these Israelis, these 1948ers, or the Amalekites, according to the Bible. You see? So we see the tensions rising between these two nations, and we know and understand what it's about to be. The stage is being set for World War III to break out. As we see all these other prophecies coming to pass with the collapse of America, chaos being stirred up in this land, the uproars of the people. All these things are happening because of biblical prophecy. All these things are happening because it's the will of the Lord. So it reads, Israel is now fully ready to launch military strike on Iran. And that falls right in line with what's said real quick. Yep, and we're going into the same things over again. Because this is all that we can say. Because once again, there's only a handful of prophecies left to come to pass. And we're speaking on these things before they even happen. We're telling you what it's going to be. And we're watching it manifest right before our eyes, just like Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahweh Shah has ordained it to be. So this is Jeremiah 49 and 20. It says, "Therefore hear the counsel of Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahweh Shah, that he have taken against Edom," which is who? The so-called white race. "And his purpose is that he have purposed against the inhabitants of Teman. Surely the least of the flock, which are those 1948ers, shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their habitations desolate with them." So all these provocative actions that you see Israel taking against Iran, it's about to cause the world to be drawn into World War III. That's what's about to happen. And we know and understand the end-all, be-all of World War III. What's going to happen? America's going to be completely and utterly destroyed by nuclear fire raining down upon this place. And the promised land is going to be hit with fire as well, for it to be purged, to cleanse it, for us Israelites to return back into it according to biblical prophecy. But this is what's happening. You see, as a matter of fact, before we go to that, let's get this real quick. This is Isaiah 9 and verse 5. It says, "For every battle of the warrior is with confused noise and garments rolled in blood. But this shall be with burning and fuel of fire." See, World War III is going to be fought with fuel of fire, burning, fire and brimstone in the form of nuclear weaponry. See, the battles of old, they were fought with what? Sword and shield, men out there on the battlefield, close quarters combat. Not this final war, man. This is going to be a war beyond anything the world has ever seen before. And when it's all said and done, nuclear weapons are going to be fired. This is how World War III is going to be fought. And these right here, these ones with the star on their flag, they're going to be the ones to draw the nations into this major conflict. And it's all happening to do it to fulfill the Most High's will of bringing World War III to pass. You see? Let's get one more. Revelation 11 and 14, it says, the second woe is past, which is World War II. And behold, the third woe, which is World War III, cometh quickly. And once again, we've been saying for years, but especially over the last few months, how this is intensifying, and it's going to get more and more intense the closer we get to this war breaking out in the fullness of it. And it's beautiful how we see all the prophecies all coming to pass at once. These last final prophecies, everything is happening. You see, all at once right now. Because we're getting to the great climax of the Most High's movie. So let's read some of this article. It reads, it says, CBS News reported that Israel is fully prepared to launch a military operation against Iran, according to multiple U.S. sources. This development comes amid heightened regional tensions, with the United States anticipating potential Iranian retaliation against American sites in neighboring Iraq. The escalating situation has prompted the U.S. State Department to order non-emergency government officials to evacuate Iraq, citing concerns over the volatile environment in the Middle East. And the thing is, we got to keep pointing it out. Every time we go into an article pertaining to these 48ers, if these people were really who they proclaim to be, because they proclaim to be the chosen people, they proclaim to be the Israelites, they proclaim that 1948 was the fulfillment of prophecy of the Israelites returning home. But according to biblical prophecy, according to what the Most High has spoken, he told you the conditions that his people will return back into or return under. And these 1948ers, they don't fit. They don't fit what the Most High said is going to be when his people return home. Because if these were the true Israelites, none of this should be even going on. There should be no tension between the nations. Because what does it tell us in prophecy? We got to get it every time. We got to get it every time, man, because the lie has been completely exposed. This is Isaiah chapter 1. I'm sorry, Isaiah chapter 2 and 4. And this goes into what? The Israelites being returned home. Now, they say that they returned. Well, them returning in 1948 was the fulfillment of prophecy. Well, let's show you what it's supposed to be when they return. We're going to jump down to verse 4. It says, Isaiah 2 and 4, and he shall judge among the nations and shall rebuke many people. And they shall beat their swords into plowshares and their spears into pruning hooks. Matter of fact, we get verse 2. Isaiah 2 and 2, it says, and it shall come to pass in the last days that the mountain of Yahweh's house shall be established in the top of the mountains, and shall be exalted above the hills, and all nations shall flow unto it. So this is what it's supposed to be ever since 1948. The chosen people are supposed to be reigning supreme, and all nations are supposed to be flowing to it. We don't see that happening. These 1948ers are the most hated nation on this planet Earth beside America, man. We don't see nations flowing up to the state of Israel. We don't see that happening. So that's a strike against these people. Isaiah 2 and 3 says, and many people shall go and say, come ye, and let us go up to the mountain of Yahweh, to the house of the God of Jacob, and he will teach us of his ways, and we will walk in his paths. For out of Zion shall go forth the law, and the word of Yahweh Bahashem Yahushua from Jerusalem. Once again, this is another strike. We don't see the righteous ways of the Almighty God Yahweh, the God of the Bible, the God of Israel, being propagated from that nation of people. All we see is wickedness coming forth from these people. That's another strike against them. Now, what does it tell us in verse 4? And he shall judge among the nations, and shall rebuke many people. And they shall beat their swords into plowshares, and their spears into pruning hooks. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war any more. So you see this? But the first night back in that land, as they established the state of Israel, they were bombed by Egypt. There's been nothing but wars going on all throughout the earth ever since 1948. So how could these be the people when the prophecies tell you it's going to be otherwise, man? The prophecy is telling us that there's going to be peace on this earth once the true Israelites return back. And we haven't seen peace on this planet. So these people can't be the people. Why? Because they don't fulfill prophecy. If they were the people, there would be no tensions in the so-called Middle East. If they were the people, you wouldn't see any fighter jets, or you wouldn't have any talks about ICBMs being used, because there would be none. Ever since 1948. You see? So just wanted to bring it out real quick. Now let's get, the quote-unquote Middle East wouldn't be volatile if the true Israelites were back in the region, back in the land, living and pushing forth the righteous ways of the Most High. How do we know? Because prophecy lets us in on that understanding. Prophecy, the Most High through prophecy has told us what is going to be. It also tells us that when Jacob returns back to his land, he's going to return back to peace and quiet. Those people haven't had any peace. They haven't been in a state of quietness or rest. They've been at war ever since 1948. So that shows that they are not who they say they are. And the Most High is going to further prove it as he causes them to bring the rest of the world into this final major conflict known as World War III. You see? So this is back in the article. It says the reported Israeli preparations follow months of strained relations between Israel and Iran, marked by a series of tit-for-tat military actions. They shouldn't exist. We just read in the prophecy it shouldn't exist. It goes on to say, Iran, a long-standing adversary of Israel, has been accused by Western nations of pursuing nuclear weapons, a claim Tehran denies, asserting its nuclear program is for civilian purposes. But the thing is, who the fuck are you Edomites to tell these Iranians what they can and can't have? I just seen a video on Instagram last night where you had this fucking 1948er on this talk show, and the host asked him, does Israel have any nuclear weapons? He was like, I can't disclose that. I don't know. Then they asked him if Iran could have nuclear weapons, and he went on this whole spiel about, no, they can't have weapons, they're dangerous to humanity, so forth and so on. You know, but it shows the hypocrisy, man. Because everybody in the crowd knew or knows that Israel has nuclear weapons, but they don't have to disclose it to the world. But every time you turn around, they're over there doing checks in Iran. Iran got to be held to a certain threshold percentage of how much they can enrich their uranium, while Israel just has free reign to do whatever they want to do. Even the host says Tehran or Iran has never attacked a neighbor, ever. But when you look at the history of the state of Israel, they're always on the offensive, always attacking. So wouldn't that make them a bigger threat than Iran? And you should have saw that fucking devil's face, man. He was speechless. So it's being made manifest to the world, man, that Iran is not the problem. The state of Israel is. But as we continue to move forward on this timeline of prophecy, man, The Most High is going to have these 1948ers draw the rest of the world into this war through their provocative actions that they're taking against Iran, man. You see? Matter of fact, it says what? However, Iran's enrichment of uranium to 60% purity, which has no peaceful application, is an obstruction of international inspections of its obstruction of international inspectors have fueled suspicions about its intent. It ain't none of your fucking business. This is the hypocrisy of the Edomite, man. Because what grounds are you standing on to have fucking Iran under your thumb on what they can do with their nuclear whatever? When their history shows that they've never been the aggressor. Even when they're attacked, it's always a retaliatory attack. It's never an initiated attack from them just doing some shit. Israel is always the one initiating. Israel, the state of Israel, is always the one instigating. And now that Iran has said enough is enough, oh, now they're a threat. This is what Esau does, man. He's always some way provoking some shit, and then when somebody finally retaliates against his ass, he wants to point the finger at you as if you are the problem, as if you are the threat. I was in basic with a fucking 1948 that this is their spirit, man. They will poke, and as soon as you dump that motherfucker on his head, you're the victim. This is what these fucking devils do. And we know what it's gonna be, but I pray the Most High, please strike them so we can move forward, man. Because we're tired of you devils. The entire world is tired of you. You see? So it goes on to say, in recent months, Israel has signaled its readiness to act decisively against Iran's nuclear program. Intelligence reports, as cited by CNN, indicate that Israel has been conducting military exercises and moving ammunition, suggesting an imminent strike may be in the works. These preparations have raised alarms in Washington, where the Trump administration has been pursuing diplomatic negotiations with Iran to secure a nuclear deal. Nah, you blew that first time you was in office. You had a nuclear deal in place, and you backed out of it. Unilaterally, they call it. The JCPOA. Where it was already negotiated that Israel wouldn't take their uranium enrichment past a certain threshold. Trump backed out of that. And it was all the spirit that it happened. And now that he's talking about making a new deal, Iran is saying, fuck that. We're not making a new deal. Do you know why? Because that's the spirit of the Lord upon them. Because this shit is not stopping. It's not slowing down. And with Israel, the state of Israel taking the actions that they're taking, this shit is about to draw the entire world into World War III and call Halayim La Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, man. This is what we need. This is what we want. We are trying to move forward on this timeline of prophecy, man. We're not here trying to hold things up another 20, 30, 1,000 years from now. You see? It goes on to say, an Israeli strike could jeopardize these efforts. Once again, ain't no deal being made, man. Potentially derailing talks aimed at preventing Iran from developing nuclear weapons. But guess what? It ain't shit you can do. Because we know, according to prophecy, that these devils, these Israelis, are not going to stop. Like we just read in Jeremiah 49, at least the flock is going to draw them out. And when they finally do decide to strike Iran, like we know is going to happen, What is that going to set in motion? That's going to set in motion Ezekiel 38. You see, because you're not finna just go into Iran and do whatever you will. This is why the Most High has Iran tied closely with Russia. It's all prophecy, man. It's all a part of the Most High's plan. You see, let's get this real quick. This is Ezekiel 38 and 2. It says, Son of man, set thy face against Gog, the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, and prophesy against him, and say, Thus saith Yahweh Bahasham Yahushua, Behold, I am against thee, O Gog, which are the Russians, and he's against the Russians because what? They're Edomites. He's just using them to fulfill his will. He's just using them to fulfill his purpose. They are tools being used at the Most High's disposal. You see? So it says what? Ezekiel 38 and 3. And say, Thus saith Yahweh Bahasham Yahushua, Behold, I am against thee, O Gog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal. I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws. And that's what's happened. You see, hey, the Most High has these Russians, especially their leader, Vladimir Putin, in a stone cold, not fucking around spirit, man. And this is why the Most High gave them that technology to make hypersonic nuclear glide vehicles, man. You see? He's turning back and put them into that ultimate warrior spirit. Because he needs them to be that way to fulfill what's written. So it says what? Ezekiel 38 and 4, And I will bring thee forth in all thine army, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shields, all of them handling swords. So this is what's being prepared. This is why we see Russia in that spirit of doing all these military drills off the coast of the U.S. A couple of days ago, I just read an article about them setting up a $240 million nuclear warhead just 410 miles off the coast of the U.S., man. These things are being set in motion. The pieces are being put into place. You see? Now, what is he going to say in Ezekiel 38 and 5? Persia, which is Iran, Ethiopia and Libya with them, all of them with shield and helmet. So this shows you, these Israelis got shit twisted. If you think that you're gonna just go in and bomb and strike Iran because you feel like America's backing you, well, guess what? Russia's backing Iran. So once you finally go in, the Most High puts the spirit upon you to go in and strike Iran and get this shit popping, like we know is going to happen. Russia's going to be right there to stand on side of Iran to guard them, just as prophecies say they will do. So this is not going to be a cakewalk for you. You see? Your ass is going to get this war started, and you, the state of Israel, and America are going to be the losers. You see? That's what's coming. But it goes on to say, Ezekiel 38 and 6, it says, Gomer and all his bands in the house of Togomor of the north quarters and all his bands and many people with thee. Verse 7, Be thou prepared and prepare thyself, thou and all thy company that are assembled unto thee, and be thou a guard unto them. Now, what does that entail, being a guard unto them? Meaning what? They got something lined up, just like NATO got lined up. With that, those NATO laws, if you attack one person of NATO, the rest of NATO joins in the battle or whatever. Guess what? Russia has the same type of deal with Iran, man. You see? So when you attack them, and U.S. steps in to basically be your ally in that attack, Russia's going to step up to the plate and guard their allies. You see? And I can guarantee you they're going to be supplying them with all manner of weaponry. You see? That includes nuclear missiles. So the thing is, Iran ain't even got to build nothing. Because if you have been keeping up with the goings on of what Russia has been doing with this technology, you have Vladimir Putin say at least, like 3 or 4 years ago, that they're about to start mass producing. they they're going to start mass producing nuclear warheads, man. So just like you see these fucking assembly lines in America with trucks going around the clock, you know what I'm saying? These vehicles on these fucking assembly lines just being put together day and night. Russia's doing the same shit with these nuclear missiles they have, man. And when the time comes, guess who's going to be there to receive a shipment of them? Iran is. And guess what they're going to do? They're going to use those things on the state of Israel. And it's all prophecy. You see? So you Israelis got it wrong, man. You got it wrong. When the Most High finally puts the Spirit upon you to do what you need to do to bring this next stage of prophecy to pass, it's not going to end well for you. You see? It's not going to end well for you at all. What else we got? So we'll finish it out. Let me see. Okay, right here. It says the U.S. has taken proactive measures in response of the looming threat of conflict. The State Department's evacuation order for non-emergency personnel in Iraq reflects concerns that Iran could target American assets in retaliation for an Israeli operation. The U.S. look at putting these Americans in danger because they fucking around. But this is what it has to be, man. It says the U.S. has also deployed additional military forces to the region, including F-16, F-15E, A-10, and F-22 fighter aircraft, as well as the U.S. Abraham Lincoln aircraft carrier, to deter Iran and its allies, such as Hezbollah and Hamas, from escalating the conflict further. But the thing is, Iran is minding their fucking business, man. The reason they on high alert is to fucking basically retaliate against whatever Israel is about to come with. They're not in the wrong. The Israelis are the ones in the wrong. So it says, President Donald Trump addressed the situation during an appearance at the Kennedy Center on June 11, 2025, warning that the Middle East could be a dangerous place and reiterating U.S. opposition to Iran acquiring nuclear weapons. So that shows you everything that the state of Israel is doing, the U.S. is going to be on board with it to back them up. So we know what that means, man. When the shit really pops, you're going to have the U.S. fully giving their support to the state of Israel. You see? And it's going to end bad for America, as is foretold in biblical prophecy according to what the Most High has spoken. So it says what? Trump's Middle East envoy, Steve Witkoff, is scheduled to meet with the Iranian officials for a 6th round of nuclear talks in the coming days, signaling a continued push for diplomacy despite the rise in tensions. However, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu reported dissatisfaction with the prospect of a bad deal. He raised concerns that Israel may act unilaterally, potentially, see that? So they're going to act under their own will, you see, or in their own interest, no matter what anyone has to say, right? You see this? So that shows you that the spirit that the Most High has on these Israelis, especially this prime minister dude, man. The Most High has this man in the spirit of continually poking and prodding at Iran until it gets to the point of no return. You see? This is what's happening. This dude, not a Jew, he's not going to stop. the Most High he's not gonna allow him, because he's using this man to be the one that pushes this prophecy forward of what? The least of the flock drawing the world into World War III. It says what? An Israeli operation against Iran carries significant risk, including the possibility of a broader regional conflict, and that's exactly what it's going to lead to. The nations being gathered for World War III. It says what? Iran has vowed a harsh and unwavering response, and Lord willing, they ain't just talking this time. It says, to any attack on its nuclear facilities and its allies, including Hezbollah in Lebanon and the Houthi rebels in Yemen, could be mobilized to retaliate. The presence of U.S. troops and assets in the region, including a terminal high-altitude area defense battery in Israel, further complicates the situation, as Iran may perceive U.S. involvement in any Israeli action. Military experts have noted that Iran's nuclear facilities, many of which are deeply buried and heavily fortified, would be challenging targets for Israel to neutralize without significant U.S. support. So you see that? The Most High has this thing, the Most High has this thing wide tight. The only choice they're going to have, they have, is for the U.S. and Israel to do a coordinated attack. And we know and understand what that means. Russia is going to step up to the plate to guard Iran, as is laid out in prophecy, and that's going to cause the entire world to be drawn into this World War III. You see? So it says, while Israel has reportedly considered a limited strike requiring minimal U.S. assistance, the aftermath could still draw the U.S. into a wider conflict, particularly if Iran targets American bases in Iraq or elsewhere. So you see, it's inevitable. It can't be avoided. It can't be avoided because what? It's prophecy. You see, this is what's laid out. It's all prophetic. So this is what's coming in. And at the end of the day, America is going to receive or be brought into complete and utter desolation as they follow the state of Israel into World War III. And we go into this all the time, man. Let's get Jeremiah 50, and we'll start right here. At verse 9, it says, for lo, I will raise and cause to come up against Babylon an assembly of great nations from the north country, and they shall set themselves in array against her. From thence she shall be taken. Their arrows, which are those ICBM missiles, shall be as of a mighty expert man. None shall return in vain. So this is the stage that's being set. The Most High is putting all these pieces into place for these prophecies to come to their perfection. Because once it finally pops off in the state of Israel attacks Iran with the help of America, you're going to have Russia be brought into the picture in the fullness of it. And that's going to cause the nations to choose sides. And when it's all said and done, the entire world is going to turn on America and the state of Israel to shoot forth their nuclear weaponry. That's what's coming. And this is all judgment from the Lord for what has been done to us Israelites. Because a lot of what's been done unto us has been funded by the 1948ers. And the main prison of our captivity is here in the land of America. So this thing is coming together in its perfection, man. You see, matter of fact, let's get a few more verses on this. This is Jeremiah 50 and 10. It says, and Chaldea shall be a spoil. All that spoil her shall be satisfied, saith Yahweh by Hashem Yahushua. Because you were glad, because ye rejoiced, or ye destroyers of mine heritage, because ye are grown fat as an heifer at grass, and bellow as bulls. So this is a recompense or repayment for all that you Edomites have done unto us, man. It begins with America being completely and utterly destroyed, and that promised land being set ablaze as well to purify it. You see, this is a recompense from the Lord. Verse 12 says what? Your mother shall be so confounded, she that bare you shall be ashamed. Behold, the hindermost of the nations shall be a wilderness, a dry land, and a desert. What's the hindermost of the nations? Where does the sun set? Here in the west, the sun sets on America. This is the place that's going to be a wilderness, a dry land, a desert. By way of what? Those nuclear weapons being fired off in the midst of World War III, which is fastly approaching. This is what we're on the lookout for, man. So we know, as we see the tensions rise between these nations, we know that the MOTB is not far away, because that's going to come to pass first, and then the entire world is going into the fullness of World War III, man, and America is going to receive the worst of the destruction. You see, to never be inhabited again. That's what's coming. Matter of fact, verse 14 says what? Put yourselves in array against Babylon round about, all you that bend the bow. Shoot at her, spare no arrows, for she have sinned against Yahweh Bahashem Yahushua. So all these nations that have these nuclear weapons, they are going to fire them upon America. And we see the isolation of America happening right before our eyes, man. Especially with this guy Trump in office. He's isolated America from his allies. By what? This Make America Great Again stance he's taking. This American First stance he's taking. And also with siding with the Israelis and all this madness they're doing. That's causing the allies of America to look at them with the side eye, man. And when it's all said and done, as we know is going to happen according to biblical prophecy, at Revelation 17 tells us, the 10 horns shall hate the whore and eat her flesh and burn her with fire. So every nation that has nuclear weaponry, they're going to turn their attention to America when it's all said and done. And they're going to let it rain down upon this place, man. Fire and brimstone, and America's going to suffer the same fate as Sodom and Gomorrah, man. This is what's coming. Shit like this right here is going to lead up to a worldwide conflict breaking out. And these goddamn gutter rats, these 1948ers, are going to be the spark that gets it popping. You see? But this is what it is, man. This is what's coming. And we love to see it. So I just wanted to go into that real quick. Like I said, we go into these things all the time, over and over and over again. We're going to keep telling you what's about to happen. That's our job as the prophets. You see? This is what the Most High has put upon us to do, man. To give you the warning before these things even come to pass. And when they come to pass, as we know they will, then shall you know that the prophet have been among you, man. But hey, it gets closer. It's getting closer, man. And so with that, I'm going to end it by giving all praise, all honor, all glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shah, Bahasham Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and others of Great Millstone for teaching me this truth according to the Bible through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shah, and a sincere peace and salutation to all you hopeful let Akim out there pushing this word in all truth and sincerity, doing the work as Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shah has created us to do. With that, I'm going to say Shalom, Wa, Abba, Abba.